So when Jeff and I were growing up, what do you remember anything that made you extremely proud of either one of us?
Yeah, I was very proud that both of you didn't get in any big troubles, except Jeff did, which we'll talk about later.
Oh, what kinds of things did Jeff do?
Well, I belonged to a poker club called the Standard Club, and I played there I think every Tuesday or something, pretty large poker game. And I got a call at the poker game, and who was it? I went to the phone. There wasn't any cell phones at those days. It was Jeff. I said, "What's wrong, Jeff?" He says, "Well, I'm in jail." I says, "You're in jail? What happened?" He says, "I don't know. I'll tell you about it when you got to get me out of here." So it was the police station in Brookside, 63rd and Brookside, 63rd and Brookside. So I reluctantly gave up the poker game, which was more important to me than Jeff was at that time, because I didn't know whether I was going to strangle him or shoot him. But anyway, I got there, and he's in jail. And I think the bond was $100 or something. I says, so I said, "Let me talk to him." I said, "Jeff, what happened?" Because they wouldn't put you in jail, but they'd give you a speeding ticket. The policemen were behind me. He says he mouthed it off at the officer. So he got used bad language and mouthed it off the officer.
While he was getting pulled over for a ticket?
Yeah. So anyway, so that was the answer there. That's the only time I remember him ever having a violation, because there wouldn't have been a second time.
And I had a bunch of wrecks when I was growing up.
You kept having wrecks. The car was very brittle because they kept patching it up with plaster or plastic or something, and
Putty.
and if you'd hit the left front fender, the right rear fender would fall off because it was made out of putty.
That was my 1971 white Vega you gave me.
White Vega, yeah.
You gave me that car when I graduated high school because I decided to stay in town to go to college.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. You said if I stayed in town, you would get me a car.
I didn't want to lose you, Marcy.
Oh, thanks, Dad. So what other?
You could have been a physician by now if I let you go to school.
What other proud moments or
Well, your graduations were proud. Jeff's bar mitzvah was a proud time.
That was a huge celebration.
Yeah, and well, just having you two. I mean, there wasn't anything spectacular.
Yeah.
You know.
We had a pretty normal life.
You had a normal life. You stayed home until you got married.
Yeah.
You didn't move out. And same with Jeff, and never really created any problems, and that was normal compared to some of the friends' kids that got into problems.
Right.
But you
Right.
kids didn't, that I know about,
Right.
get into any problems. So it was, it was nothing you'd get a citation for, just being good kids, which is normal.
So let's go back a little bit. In 1973, shortly after I got married, the first time Mom got sick with cancer.
Yes.
That was a pretty tough time in all of our lives.
Yeah.
And then we had another big tragedy when Janet died a few years later, Jeff's first wife.
Yeah, three tragedies in a row almost. My sister Dorothy was single. I mean, was not single, but she didn't have any children, and she was kind of a caregiver to the whole family. Anytime anybody had a problem, when I went in the hospital in Norfolk, I was in the hospital for 7 weeks. She came and stayed with Harriet, with Mom, and so after Mom died, 30 days after the grieving period of 30 days, we decided, Joe Palermo and his father and another guy, we decided to go fishing at a lake that somebody knew about in Iowa. So we went up there. We just practically had our bags unpacked when I got a phone call from Joe's wife, Annette, that Dorothy passed away. I mean, I took that almost as hard as my wife dying. And so we rushed home, and Dorothy was just like a mother to everybody, especially to me. She was a modern mother. My mother was the old-fashioned mother, and Dorothy was a modern mother. So Dorothy passed away, and of course Harriet passed away before that, and a couple of years after that, Janet passed away. So it was a kind of a triumphant trio of deaths, and of course that was tragic because at least when Harriet passed away, Marcy and Jeff, my kids, were grown. When Janet passed away, she left 2 kids, and so that was very tragic.
And after Mom died, about what, a year and a half, 2 years later, 2 years later, you remarried Rhoda.
I think 3.5 years.
3 years later.
Yeah, I married Rhoda.
And still married to Rhoda now.
Still married to Rhoda. I think I've been married to Rhoda longer than I was to
Yeah, I think you've
Mom.
surpassed that now.
Yeah.
You got married to Rhoda when I was pregnant with Hallie.
So that's 30 some years.
Hallie's 33.
33 years.
So, all right, so now we're wrapping this up. Now tell me the names of all of your grandchildren and their spouses.
There's Hallie is the oldest grandchild, and she's married to Eric,
Uh-huh.
and they have 2 children. Gianna. No, wrong. They have 2 children now, Maxwell and Zoe. And then Kara is married to Wes, and she has 2 children, Gianna and Eli. And
Ryan is your step.
Ryan and Stella. I just got through sending Valentines to all the great-grandchildren. My grandchildren and my children aren't going to get any Valentines. They ran out of stamps. So
Tomorrow is Valentine's Day.
they'll have them. All the little children will have them by then. I'm sure they're waiting for them, and we'd be very happy to get them.
And then Jeff's children?
Jeff's children Adam is the oldest. Then there's
and he's going to be marrying Aaron in June.
He's married in June. He'll be married to Aaron in June. We're very happy about that. And then there's Jonathan and Gregory. Gregory is graduating college whenever somebody sees this. Anyway, he'll be graduating in May of 2003.
12.
2012. Yeah, 2012. And there's Mark and Marcy are my children, my daughter and my son-in-law, and Jeffrey and Debbie are my other grandchildren. I mean, my other children, rather. And that's my family. And I'm very proud of them, very happy.
Any other things you want to tell us before we conclude?
Yeah, I'm giving all my money to... No, I'm just kidding. No, I think that's all. I mean, you know, it's all good stuff. I mean, nobody's in the penitentiary, and we're all close to each other, and probably don't always do what the other one expects us to do, or vice versa, back and forth. We wish they do something different, but we get along pretty good. And my son-in-law's doing a real good job holding the camera here, and he doesn't. He's in good health. His hand is not quivering or shaking at all, and he's doing a real good job. And Marcia did a real good job on the interview, and.
And if we think of more things later, we can continue.
Yeah, that's right. We can continue on this film.